My Steam Deck finally arrived, and I love this thing so much. These are going to be some key observations that stood out to me personally. Many of them positives, some bits that could be improved, and figuring out what its role is in this current generation of gaming. We can't talk about the Steam Deck without mentioning its main shtick: the form factor. Initially, when this thing was first announced, I thought it looked too big. While it's hardly the slim profile of the Nintendo Switch, now having used it in my own hands, the size makes a whole lot of sense. Where the Switch has weird ergonomics in exchange for a simple, playful aesthetic, the Steam Deck is chunky but comfy. A lot like me in the first grade. Again, a plus point because there's a lot of console to hold on to, which is great considering that it weighs 1.5 pounds. Even better that the grip points are where I naturally expect them to be, so hand strain is kept to a minimum. Where this size makes a little less sense is in portability. Now, it's not to say that I think that it's any more cumbersome than hauling around a Switch in a bag. However, the Steam Deck's heft makes me think twice when I whip it out to play. It's fine when you're stationary for 15 minutes or so, but I think it's too unwieldy for quick burst gaming sessions. Though the size complements the real potential of this console, which is PC gaming wherever you are. And the second part of this story, the software experience, is cool. You know what else is cool? This new Denki RGB shirt available at denki.store. Also subscribe if you like videos like this one, and hit the bell icon to get notified on when I upload more. Many thoughts run through my head when I think critically about the Steam Deck, but the summation of all of it is that it's well thought out. PC gaming, for all it allows to tailor and fine-tune your experience, might be leaning more mainstream and accessible by the day. However, many still rely on game consoles for an optimized, casual, easy experience right out the box. But the crazy thing about the Steam Deck is that Valve decided to go hard mode to offer the best of both worlds. The key to this double-edged strategy is the company's Linux-based operating system, SteamOS, and its bag of party tricks. The biggest one is Proton, a software compatibility layer that allows the deck to play Windows games, which you'll need because that is literally the majority of games on Steam. Before owning this thing, I was a bit skeptical. How good can it be? In practice, Proton works miles better than what I was expecting. Actually spent a few hours playing Yakuza 0, something that I've been wanting to do on the Switch, but couldn't, because it doesn't exist. But on the deck, it felt just as good as I remember on my PS4 and even on my PC. Just without any of the configuration, now I can just play it on my couch or in bed. The same story goes for a lot of the other games I've tried, including F1 2020, which runs just as good as I would like for a casual racing session on the go, nearly locked at 60 frames per second. Of course, I couldn't really max out settings, but at 1200 by 800 resolution, again, for casual gaming, this thing's pretty cool. However, compatibility isn't great for every game. Proton will certainly allow you to run many titles, but optimization for performance, visuals, and controls will vary depending on the title. For example, want to try that new Hatsune Miku Project Diva game that's now on PC? It certainly runs smooth on this thing, but text and UI look absolutely atrocious. A positive from this is that Valve is pretty transparent about how games run on the Steam Deck. As of recording this video, over 2,000 games are currently listed as deck verified. This is Steam's stamp of approval for meeting strict criteria for seamless compatibility, smooth performance, and clear visuals on the Steam Deck. And if not for meeting those standards, Valve has info on what to expect based on testing as well as feedback from the community. In fact, the user base behind the Steam Deck plays a huge role in what makes it special. For example, one aspect that stood out to me in particular was the OS level controller settings. This is where you can adjust all of your input mapping to let the Steam Deck know what you want each button to do. This is especially useful if you're playing a game that's not quite matched to the Steam Deck's controller and trackpad layout. But an issue with this, which is honestly a good issue to have, is that there are so many things to tweak to the point where it can be overwhelming. But again, with this thing being so community focused, SteamOS actually lets you remap your layout to popular profiles uploaded by members of the community. And more often than not, they're actually better than the default. In fact, this thing is so nerdy, you can do a lot of hardware performance tweaks in the software. Cap frame rates, set GPU clocks, even limit your own TDP to skew between performance or battery life. Add on the fact that the Steam Deck is very repairable, at least by today's standards, with parts available on iFixit. It's seriously cool that Valve lets you do whatever you want to this console that you own. What a novel concept. But to bring it back home, the beauty of what Valve is doing here with the Steam Deck is that its experience is as easy or as involved as you want it to be. Maybe you're a casual gamer that never dives into menus. To that point, the Steam Deck is a great package right out the box. Or maybe you're a hardcore nerd that loves to scrutinize every little tick box and really fine-tune your experience. You'll feel right at home on this thing too. Personally, I live on both sides depending on the situation, making the Steam Deck the perfect console for me, at least while I'm playing within its limits. The Steam Deck might have been out for a few months, albeit slowly trickling into people's hands, but the long-term prospects of the console look both positive and exciting. Much like Microsoft's Xbox Series S, the hype and popularity behind the Steam Deck is a significant enough blip in the industry to make it a common denominator for developers to optimize their games for. Certainly, there are hardcore fans that sometimes see these as setbacks that weigh the gaming generation down. But I think the positives outweigh the negatives so long as it contributes to people playing games more often. There's certainly naivety in this thought, but I genuinely think that it can move the industry forward, especially if they're reinforced that smaller form factors like this and less powerful hardware are important. And let's be real, sales and profits speak more than anything. Steam is one of the most important presences in the gaming industry, which Valve themselves, as well as other game publishers, including those owned by their own indirect hardware competition like Sony and Microsoft. All of them continue to mutually benefit from things like the Steam Deck and Steam in some way. I think this coexistence has the potential to push the Steam Deck further. Part of it is security within the portable console space. After all, as Xbox and PlayStation are still holding out on handhelds, maybe this is how they take on the Switch at its own game. Of course, this is all just speculation that should be taken with a grain of salt. But the point underscoring all of this is that Valve and Steam are a powerful force and will be for the foreseeable future, at least looking at the marketplace's current growth. I do wonder how long Valve will hold onto this hardware before they make an upgraded version. But given the overwhelmingly positive response from everyone, I think the goodwill can support people lining up to buy a successor, as long as they build and improve on the formula that's clearly working for them. I mean, if people can justify buying 30 different versions of the Nintendo Switch, anything's possible. Lord Gaben more or less confirmed another version, though it might be a higher end one. We'll just have to wait and see. If you guys liked the video, hit that thumbs up button and let me know, what do you think about the Steam Deck? If you want to know what I'm up to on the daily, go ahead and follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Bolido. And otherwise, I'll catch you in the next one.